Well, there we have Mr. Casado playing his own composition. Gaspar Casado, great Spanish cellist, playing the Dance of the Green-Eyed Devil. We actually played that recording last night, another version. I was meaning to play that version, and it's a piece that I've always wanted to play. In fact, I downloaded the sheet music this afternoon and had a go.
It was good, wasn't it?
Oh, it's good fun. It's great music, and he plays it with such verve. It's just on the edge, just about to trip over itself, but it doesn't. That's the exciting thing. These great players just knew exactly how to keep the audience in suspense.
Absolutely. How's Celia?
Oh, yes. Well, she's there, and they are just started their first performance now,
Right.
and so I think she's made it. So,
Good on her.
oh God, what a day! What a day. For those who didn't hear, I mentioned on the coffee break this morning that my youngest daughter, Celia, who's in grade 6, and she's got the lead in the musical, and the musical's on tonight. 2 performances, one now, one a little bit later. And she had gastro last night, and she was up all night, and I was up all night, and Kate was up all night, and we've had a wretched day, to be honest. But she's picked up. I had some Maxilon in the cupboard, anti-nausea tablets, and it seems to sort of settle her. So that was the way we resolved things in the end. But we're keeping our fingers crossed that she lasts the distance. It's not all over yet.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. Thank you for your concern.
No, not at all.
Oh, but what a business. Yeah, and we're just hoping now that it's not a domino effect. And of course, there's that question of, I hope the whole cast don't get it now, but I think they're trying to take whatever precautions they can.
Of course.
Yeah, so anyhow, I'm here for a bit until about probably 6:30 actually. I can probably hang around to then. I'm heading off at 6:45. The next show starts at 7:30, but I'm all ready to go.
Right.
So we can just meander forth and play a few records.
Sounds good. We've got David's coming for dinner, so
Okay.
I might have to break a little early.
Yes, of course, absolutely. No worries. That's all fine, and should be on tomorrow as well. So,
Yes. I'll find
yeah,
it tomorrow.
that's great. Well, I suppose I'll start with a 20s hit. I didn't realise I had this record, but I found it on the shelf as a random selection, and it happens to be a recording of the Coon Sanders Nighthawks. And the records do turn up in Australia, and this is one from 1927, and it's a bit of a catchy tune, Mine All Mine. To be honest, I'd gladly trade this for another record of Alfonso Trent and his band. But they were from the same region, and they all knew each other.
Did they really?
Yes, indeed, they were. Yeah, they were sort of partners in music. But of course, they couldn't play under the same heading at any time.
I wonder if they jammed together.
I'd like to know, and they probably did. I don't think the musicians themselves had anything like the same crazy, happenings that the society as a whole imposed upon the population. But yes, I think there was
kind of on different trajectories, weren't they?
I think so. Yeah, and for music, music was a great unifier and great democratizer, and there was no racism in the notes.
I bet the whiteys appreciated the others.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they drew very. How could you not be inspired hearing some of those black bands?
That's right.
It is incredible.
Oh,
And
just so much energy.
yeah, and actually, before I play this, I should mention that on the log we did a whole program devoted to Alphonse Trent and his band yesterday, and there's some extraordinary tracks. I think we played all 8 of the known extant recordings of that band, and I was reading about them a bit further, and apparently they were playing in one of the ballrooms in Kansas, and they had a really good gig. And then there was another ballroom which was run by a gangster syndicate close by.
Oh my God.
And they were trying to lure Trent's band across to this other venue.
All right.
And he wouldn't go. So what did the gangster do? He burnt the ballroom down and destroyed all their instruments and all their charts.
As you do. Yeah.
As you do. It's shocking.
Competition, you see.
Yeah, it's a shocking
Free
story.
competition.
So they lost all those wonderful
Oh,
arrangements.
that's terrible.
And-
I shouldn't joke.
Oh, it's dreadful stuff. And they did. There was so much interest in that group that they were able to get funds to buy new instruments for the members, which was great.
That's a good story.
Yeah, it is. So it's one of those sort of happy tales in the end. Although the depression hit shortly after, and things weren't so easy. But anyhow, but that's the and just a little aside to our Alfonso Trent story.
Shame there are only 8 recordings.
Yeah, I know. Only 8. That's all there is. It's incredible. And they made 2 in 1928, a few in 1930, and a couple in 1933, and that's it. Yeah, there was no facility. I think they had to go into one of the bigger centres to record, and that's the story. But they were one of the very first bands to broadcast, apparently, as were Coon Sanders, and they were heard far and wide because of broadcasting in the mid-1920s. So that's significant in itself. It's an interesting one. So, look, we'll hear this the Coon Sanders Nighthawks, another remarkable band from that time, and the Rigonol 78, and I'm hoping all systems do what they should. I've been also fine-tuning things here a bit today, but let's give it a whirl. vk3sl.
vk3jr.
I want you to know that she's mine, all mine. Get a load of those two dimples. Her kisses taste like wine. Oh, ho-do-do-do. I want you to know that she's mine, all mine. And if she didn't have a cent to her name, that wouldn't matter. I still love her the same. But her dad has lots of money. It'll all be hers in time. Oh, ho-do-do-do. That big load of dough will be mine, all mine.
Always interesting arrangements, Coon Sanders. Joe Sanders had a background in classical music. He worked for one of the provincial opera companies as a repetiteur.
Oh, yes.
And he always wrote interesting arrangements. He wrote varied arrangements for the, particularly with winds. You hear these wonderful sort of riding chorus lines with the winds,
Yeah.
and always interesting breaks. So yeah, and drops and breaks as they did in the mid-20s. So yeah, a bit of fun there. a Coon Sanders record. I'll save it up for tomorrow and play the other side.
Very good.
Yeah, so Frank, I was sorting through records and found this one, which I can't recall ever hearing. It's a record of Nat Ganella and his Georgians, and I reckon this is pretty early in their career. It would have to be about 1931, 32.
Okay.
So, yeah, and it says, "Oh, Mona, Georgia on my mind, and sing. It's good for ya," it says on the label.
It is too.
It certainly is. I'll vouch for that. And so 3 tracks in one. I don't know. It must be some sort of, I don't know. Is it? Are they all Hoagie Carmichael compositions? I don't know. I wonder what the.
Georgia on my mind certainly
It
is.
certainly is, isn't it? Yes.
I'm not sure about the other two. I
don't
don't know that Sing 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 is.
Yes, it just says sing. Sing, it's good for you.
Or just-
And oh,
No,
Mona.
it sounds like the sort of thing you would write.
Yeah, it does. I'm intrigued. All right, well, look, I'll have to play it and see. Now, I'm going to try out a different turntable here. I've organised the SP10 as a sort of a standby turntable, and it's set up so I can quickly change it over to play vinyl. But now I can play 78s on it. So we'll try this out for the first time. Never usually play 78s on the SP10, but it's a good little table, and it's a little bit closer to me, so I don't have to reach as far. So we'll give this a go. I think we are in the groove. Yes, the music of Nat Ganella and his Georgians.
An old coloured preacher was sitting on a log. Had his finger on the trigger and his eye on a hog. The gun went boo and the hog said rip. The preacher grabbed him with all his grip. Oh lordy, lordy.
Oh, Mona, you shall be
Yes, you shall be free.
when the good Lord sets you free.
I was down behind the hen house on my knees.
Oh, Mona,
Then I thought I heard a chicken sneeze.
oh, Mona,
He sneezed so hard with the whooping cough
oh, Mona,
that he sneezed his head and his towel right off.
oh, Mona, you shall be free.
Oh lordy, lordy,
Oh, Mona, you shall be
yes, you shall be free.
when the good Lord sets you
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind, keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as the moonlight through the pines. Buzzes, 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 buzzes. Other arms beam, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams, I see the road leads back to you, the road leads back to you, the road leads back to you. Georgia, 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 Georgia. No peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Oh, you really hear the influence of Satchmo on those records, don't you, with Nat Ganella?
Oh, yeah, it's great stuff.
Isn't it just? Yeah, he's one of the few English leaders who really just had this great raw energy about him. And I think he just really tuned in. Speaking of white musicians being inspired by their counterparts. I mean, gosh, Nat Gunell is a case in point. He sounds like Satchmo, he plays like Satchmo.
He did sound very like.
Yeah, but I think it's a pretty early one because these parlophones with stroboscopes are usually from about 1930-31. So, and that's the case here. And it's interesting, on this record, it's only him on one side. So the other side has got Harry Roy's Tiger Ragamuffins.
All right.
This could be good. And maybe I should play this too. Harry Roy's Tiger Ragamuffins, Ivor Morton and Dave Kay, on two pianos with string, bass and drums, and Foxtrot medley, it says.
They used to get played a lot on radio.
Did they?
Early 50s radio, yeah.
Okay, the Ragamuffins.
Sorry, Ivor Morton and Dave Kay.
Ivor Morton and Dave Kay, yes. I've seen their names on discs going right up until the 50s. Yes, they were they had a good little ensemble going there. But, look, I might as well play side B. The record will get lost for another 10 years when I put it back on the shelf. So we'll hear it. Let's hear you go with the Foxtrot melody. And this system seems to be working quite well. I'm pleased with it. So here we go, in the groove. There we go. That was all right. Ivor Morton and Dave Kay and their Foxtrot medley. Yeah, very sort of middle of the road, but good rhythm section there.
Suited early 50s radio.
Yes, I can imagine it would, Frank. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Yeah, it's sort of had that. It just probably found that niche where everyone could sort of sit back on their radiograms.
It had wide appeal, as you say, and it was middle of the road, but still with a bit of life, bit of life in it.
Yes,
and
definitely.
nice playing.
Yeah, very good. It's they're excellent musicians. I wonder what became of them. I should look them up. find out. Okay, now I'm going to pick a few records out of Jamie's box here.
All right.
And there's
Hey,
two.
Jamie, if you're listening.
Yes, greetings to you, Jamie, and we're looking forward to that special moment where we'll hope we'll have to make it. We'll just have to get our diaries out and have a chat. As soon as all these reports and things are over, in the next week or so, I'll be sort of past assessments, and I can start sort of seeing a trajectory. And as the term winds up, it'll be easy to sort something out and have a catch up, have face-to-face missions. So look forward to it very much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So. So Jamie very kindly dropped off some boxes of great missions fodder, and I've sorted them out. I've got a 1950s box, and I've got another box full of sort of dance band, jazz stuff. So this is one from the second box, and it's a recording I don't think I have here of Fat Swaller. And it's certainly a very well-known song of his. It's one I sort of associate with him, really. And I think he recorded it more than once, but I'm quite excited to see this one here. It's his take on Everybody Loves My Baby.
Oh, yeah. Can we get the other side as well?
We'll hear both sides, indeed. All right, let's have a listen. Everybody Loves My Baby, Fat Swaller and his rhythm.
Everybody loves my baby, but my baby don't love nobody but me. Nobody but me. Everybody wants my baby, but my baby don't want nobody but me. That's plain to see. She's got a form like Venus. Honest, I ain't talking Greek. No one can come between us. She's Bathsheba, I'm a she. That's why everybody loves my baby. But my baby don't love nobody but me. Nobody but me. That's it, serenade my baby. Upon my rosy cheeks, I just let those kisses beat. Don't wash my face for weeks. That's why everybody loves my baby, but my baby don't love nobody but me. Nobody but me. She better not.
This is marvellous. It's just fantastic. Fat Swaller and his rhythm. And I was trying to get some information on that record. I didn't succeed. I've certainly found numerous links to it, but there's no listing of the personnel. I'd love to know who the guitarist was.
Yeah, he was good.
Wasn't it great?
He was good.
It was really good. Little great break there. And some fabulous words. Yeah, asking him to serenade his baby, he said.
I love him. The more I hear him, the more I like him.
No, he's so infectious. Yeah, he's good stuff. Well, look, we'll have to play the other side. I don't know what it is. I'll lean over and find out. Here we go. It's Scram. Okay. Well, I'll see if I can find some info while we're listening. This is so nice to find records in good condition. This is Perfect. All right, it's a Regal Xonophone. And we're listening to Fat Swaller and his rhythm. Oh, how sweet is that? It's a track called Scram with Fat Swatter. The only thing I could find out about that record was that it was recorded in 1940. That's the date.
Okay.
So, yeah, quite late in Fats'
Yeah,
career.
I've never heard it.
Yeah, it's a newie. So that goes with all the Fat Swatter records.
There are no bad Waller records, are there?
There are none. No, everything is good. Everything has just got his wonderful flights of imagination and spirit and character and just larger-than-life personality. It exudes. He could do anything.
That's exactly right.
It's all there. He's omnipresent, and he's no, even though he's been gone for decades, he's still there.
Lives on.
It does live on. They're fabulous records. All right, riffing through the pile, we have he's an Australian record. And it's Frank Johnson and his fabulous Dixielanders. This is a great band with two
They
trumpet
were a very
players.
good band.
Yeah.
Melbourne band.
That's it. So I think they had a residency at the Collingwood Town Hall.
Yes, yes.
I think so. And I did hear them. They had a reunion there in the 80s, and I was a spotty teenager, and I went along.
Oh, boy.
And I actually recorded it on my little, I had a Sony recording Walkman, and I recorded the event.
Sneaked it in.
It's somewhere, and yes, in fact, nearly all the original band was still there, except for Wakadaya, of course, who'd
Yes,
been
he
killed.
died, of course.
Yes, but his wife was there, and
Oh, good.
and basically, other than him, it was the original band. Jeff Kitchen was playing, Ken Evans was playing the second trumpet, and Jeff Blam was on the piano, I remember.
Great stuff.
Wes Brown was on the... It was basically I got to hear the Frank Johnson Band and the Bell Band in their pretty much their original form in the 1980s. Yeah, so that was a treat. Although I'm not a huge fan of Dixieland Revival, I do think these two bands are really special. And when it worked really well. When it didn't work, it was a bit of a not so good. But I think these records are tremendous. So we have... I think Walker's singing on this. I think he does, yes. It's Mississippi Mud.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, great standard. So we'll have a listen to this Parlophone 78 from, I think, about 1950, thereabouts. And Frank Johnson and his fabulous Dixielanders.
When the sun goes down, the tide goes out, and I can gather around and they all begin to shout. Hey, hey, Uncle Dud, when you beat your feet on the Mississippi Mud. What a dance do they do, Lordy, I'm telling you. They don't need no band, they can time by clapping their hands. Just happy as a cow chewing on a cud when the doggies beat their feet on the Mississippi Mud.
Frank Johnson and his fabulous Dixielanders.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it's a terrific record. And, part of the big jazz revival, which, well, I suppose Graham Bell was largely responsible for, because he did that tour of Czechoslovakia, didn't he, in the 1947?
That's right, and he went to England.
Yes, he did. And he sort of became a real sort of advocate for reviving these New Orleans sound. And... and then a lot of other bands sort of followed in suit. And Sydney had a very different scene, didn't it? There's more of a contemporary jazz scene in Sydney, would you say?
Yeah, probably. But certainly the 50s I think Melbourne was the headquarters. And it's all in the 60s, because you had people like Frank Traynor as well then.
That's right, indeed. Yes.
And Judy Jacques and,
yes.
And of course the young Judy Durham.
Yeah, of course she sang with Frank Traynor. That's right. Yeah. Do you remember going to venues in the 60s or hearing some of these bands live? Did you get that opportunity, or was that?
Yeah, I do. I went to one with my older cousin, who was a jazz fan.
Okay, sure.
He introduced me to the Hot Five, the recordings of the Hot Five.
Oh, really? Fantastic. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, that's another story.
Oh, that's brilliant, though. Amazing. Yeah, those recordings are just so important.
That is trad at its absolute. I don't think it ever got as good as
Well,
that.
it's just so musical, and I think as Michael McQuaid, that musicologist we heard the other day, was saying, they were deep listeners. There was a real sort of empathic element to those, particularly those New Orleans bands. They play. It's really chamber jazz. They really let the parts breathe, and so the sound didn't congeal, and you just got room for these wonderful, imaginative solos, and often what we don't realise, and this was touched upon the other day as well, is that those recordings were often quite heavily arranged.
Yes, that's right.
More arranged than what we expect.
Yeah.
And I mean, they memorised their arrangements, but they did have quite a deal of structure, and I think that is important because it allows the solos to sort of really stand forward, and often the accompaniment to the solos, if it's structured setting, is supports the solo part. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Harking back to the record we just heard, no, not at all. I particularly like Jeff Kitchen's clarinet playing. He's the shining light in the Johnson band.
Right.
And I remember hearing that group when it the gathering in the 80s when they reformed the original band. I remember thinking Jeff Kitchen is such a musician. He was really just so in the experience, and I thought he was the most imaginative of the players in that band.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bell Band had great rhythm section. I think Roger Bell was an excellent trumpet player.
Oh, yeah.
Underestimated. And I think he's the strength there. And so I've got another Bell Band record lined up. So while we're sort of having this little episode of Australian trad jazz, we'll have a listen to another from the Graham Bell Band. This is a track called Cakewalking Babies Back Home. This is vk3sl.
And vk3jr testing.
Demonstrating, they're going some now, ain't they? Syncopating all over town, heaving round, picking 'em up and laying 'em down. Ain't they balloons? Ain't they demonstrating? They're in a class of their own. Oh, brother, only wait to win is to cheat 'em. You may talk, but you'll never beat 'em. Shut your come shut your stuff, cakewalking babies from home.
Okay, oh, that's a pretty live number. I wonder who the vocalist on that was.
Dunno.
Yeah, we'll just check in, find out. I'll just hold it up. The Small Prince, vocal chorus by Neva Raffaello. Wow, I've never heard of Neva Raffaello before.
You're quite good.
Yeah, she did a great job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another one for the Australian shelf. That's all good. I've just noticed that there's some Stan Freebergs in here.
Oh, really?
Oh, I know I've played them, but I just want to play them again because I love them.
Oh, you can never have them too many
Can't
times.
have enough. And here we go. Here's a Little Blue Riding Hood. This is brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it's a great one. And we've got St. George on the other side, but I think Little Blue Riding Hood deserves to be played.
Oh, it certainly does.
So, yeah, apparently Stan Freeberg was quite young. I think he was in his early 20s. Oh, this is one of these records that's a bit of a dish.
Oh, no.
We'll see how we go. The one thing about these long tone arms is that they sort of do accommodate the records quite well.
Yeah, they've got the extra sort of length to
Yeah,
go
so
with the flow.
All right, here we go. Fingers crossed.
The story of Little Blue Riding Hood is true. Only the color has been changed to prevent an investigation.
This is the Woods. My name is Wednesday. I work out a homicide. Monday, February the 2nd, 10:22 a.m. Bumped into Chicken Lickin'. Told me the sky was falling. I booked her on the 614, turned her over to the psychiatrist. Then a call came in at a 503. When I was on my way to the 503, a 618 came in. I added up the 614, the 503, and the 618, got 1,735. I handed in my paper to the chief. He corrected it, gave me 100%, patted me on the head, told me I was a good cop. 11:45 a.m. it happened. I saw a little girl in a blue hood carrying a basket. I stopped to question her. Pardon me, ma'am. Could I talk to you for just a minute, ma'am?
What about?
Nothing much, ma'am. Just want to ask you a few questions, ma'am. What's your name?
Little Blue Riding Hood.
Where you going, ma'am?
Grandma's house.
Yes, ma'am. What do you got in the basket?
What are you trying to say? I got something in the basket I shouldn't have?
No, ma'am, I didn't say that.
Then why are you asking me all these questions for?
Just routine, ma'am. We just want to get the facts. May I have a look in that basket, ma'am?
Be my guest.
Let's see. Sawed-off shotgun, knife, bludgeon, box of dum-dum shells. Nothing suspicious here. All right, ma'am, we may want to talk to you later, so don't leave the woods. She skipped on down the path, but she didn't know I'd seen the concealed compartment in the basket. In it, what I'd suspected all along, goodies. My job, get to Grandma's before she did. I took a shortcut through the strawberry patch. It was sort of a strawberry shortcut. I walked up to the cottage, rang the bell.
Come in, dear.
Okay, Grandma, it's a raid.
A raid? Why, I'm just a peace-loving old lady. You've got the wrong grandma.
Yes, ma'am. We just want to get the facts. Where'd you get that bump on your head?
The sky fell on me this morning.
I made a note to book her on the 614 and turned her over to the psychiatrist. I tied her up, put her in the closet, then I put on the grandma suit and got into bed. Come in, ma'am.
Hello, Grandma. I got the loot. What are you doing in bed?
I'm feeling poorly.
But, Grandma, what big ears you have.
All the better to get the facts. I just want to get the facts, ma'am.
But, Grandma, what a big subpoena you have in your pocket.
All the better to serve you with.
But, Grandma, what a big 38 police special you have pointed at me.
All the better to take you in. You're under arrest. You and your grandma are operating a goodies ring.
A cop? I should have known.
Known what, ma'am?
You look nothing like my grandma. You forgot about the mustache.
But I don't have a mustache.
I know, but Grandma does.
Well, I see you broke the goodies ring. How'd you get a lead on her, Joe?
I just played a hunch, Frank. It was just a hunch. I played my luck. Sometimes a hunch pays off, sometimes it doesn't. I was just lucky. I just played a hunch, Frank.
What you're trying to say, Joe, is you just played a hunch. A lucky guess. Sometimes a hunch pays off, sometimes it doesn't. You just played a hunch. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Joe?
Yeah, I just played a hunch.
It's absolutely brilliant. I've heard it 1,000 times, but every time I hear it, I just feel compelled by the satire.
I know.
It just
Wonderful.
really takes the piss. It's so clever.
It is.
Yes, and just the way they read the lines at the end.
I know.
Oh yeah, good old Stan Freeberg. I think he passed away very recently. He was saying last year or the year before.
Fairly recently, I think.
Yeah. He had a long career. He knew what to do because he moved into advertising. I
He
think
did, which was an interesting move, given that he was sort of half taking the piss out of it.
I think it's like Graham Kennedy. He sort of succeeded in that reverse psychology of selling the product by rallying against it.
I guess that's it. I hadn't really looked at it. You're right. I hadn't.
Yeah, a lot of his stings, he's just taking the piss the whole time. But it sort of has a way of drawing people into the subject.
He did a very bitter one called Green Christmas, though.
Oh, that's really good. That's really clever. Incredibly, I've got that, and I've got it on 78, and I will seek it out. Because that would be, we'll definitely play that up leading up to Christmas.
It's good Christmas fodder.
It certainly is.
It actually, rings very true, doesn't it?
Oh, it does indeed. It does. It's really clever stuff. Yeah, there's some great records in this box. Here's one. Coleman Hawkins and his All-Star Jam Band, it says here.
Wow.
Yeah, this is great. Swing Music's 1938 series, it says on the label. And on the other side, it's Out of Nowhere. Coleman Hawkins. So we can play. I could play both, but maybe we've got to save something up for next time. So shall I play Sweet Georgia Brown?
Yes, please.
Yay, we'll play this and have a listen to good old Coleman Hawkins, one of the few musicians who really straddled the changes of era. And I suppose this would be mid-career Coleman, I suppose, back to 1938.
Yes, he moved on considerably after that as well.
Yes, he did indeed. That's right, because he became a bop player. All right.
He did. That transition, if you look from start to finish, is incredible, isn't it?
It's extraordinary. When you hear those recordings of him playing in Fletcher Henderson's band, and, in fact, Michael McQuaid played one the other night on that.
That's what he did.
You could hear him sort of leading the chorus, the sax chorus, in those very early recordings in the 1924. And to think that he sort of basically kept evolving and worked as a solo player. He developed his style, then transmuted. He became a significant bop player in the end.
Oh, he was.
Which is astonishing, really, when you think of it. He just had, I suppose he just had an open mindset. That's all it takes to keep moving with the times. He was a good enough musician to be able to
do the chops.
Yeah, that's it, and move on. So, all right, well, I think we've... looks like the turntable's gone to sleep. All right, we'll swap turns. This is the beauty of a system, is I can swap turntables if need be. And we'll have a listen now to Coleman Hawkins and, in 1938. Let's get that one queued up. I don't know what's going on with the SP10. I need to do a restart. But we'll hear him in 1938 with Sweet Georgia Brown. And, yep, we are in business. Oh, how about that? That was Coleman Hawkins in 1938. Wonderful solo. It just had so much dimension. I just love the way it meandered.
Oh, beautiful.
And he just had this great sort of agogic points. He'd just go this wonderful melismatic sort of journey, and then he'd settle, and then he'd go again.
Yeah.
He just had these beautiful...
Just adventurous, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And big phrase designs, big shapes. And I always like musicians who phrase in large shapes, even if it's implied. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
And so that's... Oh, I think I'll have to play the other side, Frank.
Oh, go for it.
Yes.
Fully.
Let's hear side B or side A.
Doesn't matter.
That doesn't tell us which was which. And yeah, again, we'll hear Coleman Hawkins and his all-star jam band it says. And yeah, Swing Music 1938. Yes, it is 38. Swing Music 1938 series. And the name of this one is called Out of Nowhere. It's the name of the track. So let's take it away, Mr. Hawkins. I'm vk3sl.
And vk3sl.
Wow, how about that? Those solos really are sort of embroidered, aren't they? They're just obligato-esque. They just have this wonderful sense of line all the time. It's just constantly journeying. It's the stops.
He's terrific. He just flows on,
It
doesn't
does.
he?
His solos flow almost more than any saxophone player I know. I mean, well, I suppose that's not the right thing to say. But look, so many great saxophone players do have that skill. But I just think he sort of, exemplifies that in some respects. Yeah, just wonderful stuff.
Beautiful sense of line.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy that record. That's going in a special place, so I won't lose it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, this is good. Now, this is a really exciting discovery because there's all sorts of things here that I just had no idea about.
It's high quality stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. And here's one, the next one. You'll love this. It's Al Jasbo Collins, that DJ.
Yeah, the DJ.
Yeah, DJ, and he's just so cool. He's so hip, and
He's just hipper than hip.
yeah, and this is one I've never heard, so I'm going to hear it for the first time now. And it's called The Discovery of America. So that's the name of it.
Oh.
So we'll hear Mr. Jasbo Collins, and he is the coolest dude out there for sure.
Well, strap on your 7-league galoshes, kiddies, because this is your Uncle Jasbo with the story of Christopher Columbus, or how square can the world be? At the start of our story, Columbus was just another sailor on the high seas, and on some days he could make E flat. But one particular AM, while his mother was dishing out the bagels and lox, Columbus suddenly picked up on an orange and studied it, like the most interested. Then after digging said orange for 10 minutes, Columbus turned to his mom, and his observation was destined to affect history for many a fortnight. He said, "Gee, Mom, these oranges are the juiciest." Fade out, fade in, and now we find Chris hanging out at the Royal Court in Spain. He's been on the scene for months, and there's only one thing on his mind: boats. It was then that he met Queen Isabella, who had only one thing on her mind. In short, she had bulging eyes for our man. In fact, she was veritably flipping her coronet for Mr. C, but so far she hadn't come up with a rowboat. And so every night he'd fall by the royal pad and try to get her to part with the necessary loot. But Isabella had no eyes to see Columbus leave town. "Your Royal Majesty," Columbus would say, "methinks thou hadst better lay those boats on me pretty quick like, 'cause, your highness, I ain't making no bread around here." And so the pages kept dropping off the calendar, and Columbus still couldn't score. The next time he saw the Queen, he was really salty. "See here, your queenship," Columbus started. "If thou dost not straighten me with aforementioned sailing vessels, I'm cutting out on this booking, dig?" "Okay, Chris," said Isabella. "Thou hast won thy point, but it sure'll be a drag around here with you on the road. Now take yon 3 sailing boats and go explore if that's what you want. Big deal." Shortly afterward, Columbus took off from Spain. And after 3 months at sea, he called for his first mate. And the dialogue went something like this: "Hiya, mate. Glad to see ya. How's the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria? Why, everything's cool. The weather is fair, but the motion of this ocean is really nowhere. Well, never mind the ocean if you want to feel fine. Just ask the man for a bottle of wine. So follow the stars and follow the moon. We don't know where we're going, but we'll be there soon." And sure enough, the following morning they sighted land, and all of Columbus's men raised their voices in a mighty cheer. "Ooh, Papa Da, ooh, Papa Day. Everything is crazy in the USA. Now let's dig the Dodgers, let's dig the Yanks, and let's go to Nathan's for some red-hot Franks." Well, you've dug the rest in your history books. They made it back to Spain, and the very first night Columbus hit town, Isabella greeted him with open charge accounts. "Well, Chris," she said, "tell me about your trip. Is America really a gasser?" Columbus, with a groovy twinkle, replied, "Oh, it's all right for a visit, but what cat in his right mind would want to live there, baby?"
Is that fantastic?
Just too hip.
It is so hip. It is just, he's got the vernacular, he's got the space, and I'd love to get some of his radio programs.
Oh, yeah.
I should refer them to Shortwave Australia. I think that'd be some great, extended missions fodder if we could find some. I think there are some out there because he'd just be the coolest guy. He'd be a wonderful DJ.
There's another guy who does a somewhat similar thing called Ken Nordine.
Oh, I'm going to write this down. What's his name?
Ken Nordin. I'm not sure how you spell it.
Okay.
I bought one of his 78s when I was a kid.
Can you spell it for me?
K-E-N
Yeah.
N-O-R-D-E-E-N. That's phonetical.
Nordin. Nordin. Okay, I've written that down. We'll investigate that for sure. That sounds good. Ken Nordin. All right, that sounds great, Frank. Well, there's quite a few Ruth Wallace records in this lot.
Oh, you go.
And this one I'm going to be, I'm not going to even attempt to back announce it, actually.
No, don't worry.
I will not back announce it. I'll put something else on because I think it'll speak for itself. But I think what she's singing about here is a yo-yo, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I think something like
One
that.
of her favourite topics.
Yes, indeed. That's right. But this would have to be, I mean, there's no way, I don't know how any radio station could ever have played this record. But anyhow,
I don't think they did very much.
I don't know if they could have. And it's got a blank label. It's a 78 vinyl, and it's there's quite a few of them here in this batch from Mr. J. He must have found them, and someone must have had a stash. So, yeah, I don't know what the story is there.
You might find out.
You might find out. She's a good singer, and she apparently wrote all the songs herself. And, it certainly hit the spot, I suppose.
What was she, late 30s, 40s?
Yeah, I think she's sort of wartime. I think she really made her mark during the war.
Yeah,
I did look her up, and she was going right through the 50s, but she sort of really was in that, she had a particular niche. And, but look, here and there, and I'll just let this ride, and I'll find something else to play afterwards, just while I cool down.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll have to hear this. So yes, we'll hear Ruth Wallace and her orchestra.
Oh, his pop-up doesn't pop up anymore. It just doesn't do the thing it did before. Johnny used to be so proud and all the girls would stare to see the way he'd make it pop up in the air. Almost any time of night, no matter what. Gee, you ought to see that thing when it got hot. But now he jiggles it, he wiggles it, he bangs it on the kitchen floor. But to no avail, it's a very sad tale. His pop-up doesn't pop up anymore. Oh, his pop-up doesn't pop up anymore. It just doesn't do the thing it did before. I never will forget the night he brought it home for me, tied with a blue ribbon and cute as it could be. Had it popped right up with just the slightest touch. But now I fear we've used it much too much. We just can't make it, and I can't take it. It isn't good for one piece more. It's in the same old groove, but it just won't move. His pop-up doesn't pop up anymore. Oh, his pop-up doesn't pop up anymore. And a thing like that can be an awful bore. Now I sit and look at it, it's just as cold as ice. But I recall the nights it was worth most any price. And it popped right up each time I wanted more. We'd have such fun and he'd let me keep score. But now it's beat up, it won't repeat up. There's no use in hollering encore. His little pop-up sure needs a prop-up. His pop-up toaster will not pop up anymore.
There's a song that I recall my mother sang sang it as she tucked me in when I was 93. Who was that bum? Ying tong, 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 in a light pole. Keep that up, keep up, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole, lad. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole, in a light pole. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole. Oh, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in a light pole, in a light pole. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in the light. Where's he going, lad? Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, in the light. Look out! Ying tong.
There we go.
I love the Goons.
Aren't they amazing? Oh, I grew up with that record. My dad had it. Did you? Yes. Yeah, he had it on a 45 and I used to play it all the time. Yeah, isn't that marvellous?
What's on the other side?
The other side's Blood Knocks Rock and Roll Call, which is also really good. I think I should play that too.
Oh, yes, that's terrific.
We'll give it the double
I'll
treatment.
bet it's Blood Knocks.
Yes, indeed. Blood Knocks a Rock and Roll Call Milligan. It says the Goons on a Decca 78. So right at the end of the second 78 era. But they play very well. All right, let's hear this. More Goons Mania.
Completion! Shooter hype! Spider right! Number! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 12, 11, 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14.
You got to rock and roll in a roll call way. You got to march with a Marilyn Monroe sway. You got to rock and roll with your old kit bag, but you mustn't ever mention her name in the mess. And if you want to know the title of this number, it's a Major Dennis Bloodnut rock and roll called Rumba. Left, 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 right, left, quick, slow, quick, slow, in, out. In and out, pick up your gun, shove a bullet up the spout. That's a dance they do from Madras to Pango Pango. It's a Major Dennis Bloodnut rock and roll called tango. Oh, dum diddle floaty ho, Bombay baby cha. Yum diddle do do do.
Stop that simple, naughty record type music. Stop it, I say! Stop it! Wow, stop it!
Oh, pardon me, putties and solemn toby. Why, Do me beady old eyes deceive me, or is it? No, it can't be. But yes, it is. It's me old childhood sweetheart, Spotty Minnie Bannister. The darling of Roper's Lighthorse. Bless my soul, madam. Oh, what are you doing here? Nothing catching, I hope.
I just came to put my bag full of money in the bank.
Money? Money? Oh, Neddy, take Miss Bannister in a steaming love dance while I check her properties. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Gents to the left, ladies to the right. All join hands, pan it. Whoa,
Oh, bravado, what a voice, what a bank balance. I beg you gorgeous wanton, give me some small token of your love and I'll sing you a known military melody. Music, Maestro Pong.
Right, mate.
You got to rock and roll in a monetary manner if you want to earn a necessary tenner. Take your pick while the picking's good. If you don't pick right, things will never get better. And when I hear the tink of money, that is good news. It drives away the blood knock rock and roll called blues. So let there be always some cash for me. That will be mine. Oh, mine. Send only 2 and 6 for a copy of this record. Oh.
I miss the Goons on Saturday mornings.
Oh, it was just an institution, wasn't
It was for decades. I remember even as a young kid, I used to visit my grandparents every Saturday morning and they'd always have the Goons on. And I used to sit there with my grandfather. He was a very serious academic sort of guy, but he'd laugh, belly laugh every time and I used to sit there with him and it was such a beautiful sort of shared experience.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. When did you first hear the Goons, Frank?
1950, about 55, I think.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, and
did someone introduce them
I
to
couldn't like this is ridiculous.
Yes.
And then I listened more closely, and I just couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, the absurdist humour. So, was there someone to sort of introduce you to them at all? Was there any sort of like, did your folks listen to them as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Oh wow, that's great.
Not so much, but
okay.
I really love them.
Yeah. Oh, I just think they're amazing. Oh, wow. Yes, good to hear some Goons magic there. And there's some wonderful comedy records in this batch, and some I hadn't heard, including this next one, which is The Man on the Flying Trapeze with Spike Jones.
Oh, yes, I've heard it.
You know it? Yeah, okay.
Good, it's very good.
Okay, well, I'll have to hear this, I think. Just relishing in all of these, great sort of comedy flavours. So here we go. The Man and the Flying Trapeze. I think we are ready to rip.
Our fractured baritone. Are you in voice, Winstead?
I believe I am in voice. Professor? Oh, once I was wappy, once I was sappy, a sap I was once. Once I was happy, but foul I'm lorn, lorn I'm foul now, a scion line, nylons are free, now I'm forlorn. Like an old goat, oh no, not a goat, that's an animal. Like an old coat that is tornered and tat, teetered and tummed, tattered and tipped, tap with a toupee, ripped. Left in this wide world to sleep and to snore, to weep and to mourn. Betrayed by a jade in her means, no, be mean by a trade for some jeans, no, be jeaned by a teen with some jade, no, betrayed by a maid in her teens, oh. He floats by his hair. Oh, not by his hair. That would hurt. Speaking of hair, a man came up to me today and said, Doodles, your hair is getting thin. And I said, well, who wants fat hair? Head killer! He floats through the air with the 8th degrees, with the latest of fleas, with plates full of cheese, with the birds and the bees, he can't miss. The manning young dare, the daring young mare, he's not a horse, that's silly, he'd break his neck. The fanning young Dan, the danning young fat, he's an awful old ham, he's a young fellow about my age. You know, a funny thing happened, a man came out to me, Doodles, did you leave home? I said, I left home. He said, did you put the cat out? I said, I didn't know he was on fire. The killer! The daring young man on the flapping trapeze, a treasing tri-flaps, a trying flip-flip, a flipping tri-pump, a fapping horizontal bar. His gradations are his actions are horrible, no, he's very good. All girls he doth please, but my love he hath lulled a stay. No, the doves in the hayloft away, no, I'm on the road to Mandalay, no, hey, no. Did you hear about the owl who married a goat? They had a hootenanny. The killer! He's a man on the flying trapeze.
Oh, fantastic. That's so well done. They really... timing's the essence, isn't it?
It's everything.
Yeah, it is incredible. They must have really rehearsed that.
Yeah, but you'd have to be very good to even do it, with a lot of rehearsal.
Yeah, that's it. You just need to have a really innate sense of rhythm, and that's one thing I gained from that group is who's Doodles Weaver?
Who Doodles?
I don't know who that is. Is it Red Angle? I think Red Angle had something to do with Spike Jones.
He might have.
Yeah,
he might have.
He was involved.
I know of Red Eagle through a couple of other recordings.
Sure.
I didn't realise he had anything to... I don't doubt it, but...
Yeah.
He did a thing called Cigarettes and Whiskey and Wild Wild Women.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And in the early days, he was involved with Ted Weems' orchestra.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, so that's where he cut his teeth. Cigarettes and Whiskey and Wild Wild Women sounds like fun. I'll see if I can dig it up. Before doing that, I'll put on I think I might have played this the other day. I'm not sure. I'll lose track of what I've played and what I haven't. This is a recording of Tommy Dorsey, but it does say here in the fine print, vocal refrain by Frank Sinatra and the Pied Pipers. So this will be a very early Frank Sinatra.
Very early, yes, he would. But he sounds good.
Yeah, I particularly like these early records.
I know you do.
Yeah, so look, we'll play this anyhow, even if we it doesn't matter. We can play things 2 and 3 or 4 times. The problem is I don't sort of clean out the records, just go back in the box. So anyhow, it fits the moment. We'll have a listen to this. It's Tommy Dorsey and the band with Frank Sinatra.
I'll wake each morning and I'll promise to laugh. I'll say good morning to your old photograph, and I'll speak to you, dear, just as though you were here. When purple shadows start to welcome the dark, I'll take the same old stroll we took through the park, and I'll cling to you, dear, just as though you were here. So don't be afraid that distance and time will finally tear us apart. The farther you go, the longer you stay, the deeper you grow in my heart. Each night before I wander off into sleep, I'll bring to light the tears I've buried so deep. Then I'll kiss you, my dear, just as though you were here. Night before I wander off into sleep, I'll bring to light the tears I've buried so deep. Then I'll kiss you, my dear, and though you're gone, my love for you goes on, darling, just as though you were here.
Yes, recorded when Mr. Sinatra had both grain and warmth in his voice.
A lot more warmth and no rough.
Yes, he sort of strained his voice a lot later on. In fact, I think it lost a lot of its more delicate qualities, but that's the way he went, and it served him well. But that was just a beautiful track, and so it wasn't in great condition, but it's a wonderful record. I just love those early recordings of Sinatra.
Great backing group as well.
Oh, yeah, just so slick, so well done. It's just amazing. Yeah, well, look, I was able to dial up that Red Ingle track you mentioned, Cigarettes, Whiskey and Wild Wild Woman. So
got Joe Stafford in it.
Okay, fabulous. All right, that'll be good.
I'm not sure whether this particular one has, but there's a series of these at Red Eagle.
Yes.
And he's Natural 7, I think it is.
Ah, good, very good.
And we'll go into them another night.
Yes, well, I think this might be his, yeah, here it goes. It says, it gives a little bit of info here. It says, a former comic vocalist with Spike Jones, Ingle had recently enjoyed a major success with his hillbilly version of Temptation, which is referenced several times in his revival hymn. The words of his spoken intro were later recycled by the Hombres for their 1967 hit Let It Out. Okay, so there we have a bit of a story. But look, here we go, back to 1948, Red Ingle, Cigarettes, Whiskey and Wild Wild Women.
Preachment, dear friends, you're about to receive on John Barleycorn, nicotine, and the temptations of Eve.
Okay, let's hear it if it's so good.
Oh, once I was happy and had a good wife. I had enough money to last me for life. I met with a gal and we went on a spree. She taught me to smoke and drink whiskey, cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. And drive you crazy, they'll drive you insane. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. They'll drive you crazy, they'll drive you insane.
Hey, sing Temptation, will you?
Please. Cigarettes is a blot on the whole human race. A man is a monkey with one in his face. Here's my definition, believe me, dear brother. A fire on one and a fool on the t'other. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. And drive you crazy, they'll drive you insane. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. And drive you crazy, they'll drive you insane.
Sing Temptation, will you?
Dear friend, somebody get that bum out of here. Brother, repent or they'll write on your grave. 2 women and whiskey, here lies a poor slave. Take warning, dear stranger, take warning, dear friend. They'll write in big letters these words at the end. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. They'll drive you crazy, they'll drive you insane. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. They'll drive you crazy, they'll drive you insane. Listen, I want to hear Temptation, you hear? That's what I want to hear, Temptation.
Hold it, brethren. My friend, I'm afraid you're in the wrong place. We don't sing that kind of music here.
Okay, then show us your muscles.
It's brilliant. Red Ingle and yeah.
And the soprano, I think, was Joe Stafford.
That was Joe Stafford. Fabulous. It's good. Well, I'll have to feature him comprehensively and look at his whole career, because he's another person who sort of straddled different...
I didn't realise, they had such depth.
Yeah, they sort of went through the ropes. It's interesting. Well, Frank, it's got to that time on the clock where I've got to head off in about 10 minutes. So,
Yeah, I know.
So looking forward to hearing the show tonight. So hopefully all will be well. I'll report on it tomorrow. Yeah, poor Celia. She's got a main role. She's got a lot of lines. So, yes, so hopefully she's all right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Anyhow, well, we'll catch up soon, and thank you for your company and for the fun. It's all
great fun. These are great records, aren't they?
Aren't they? Brilliant batch. And so maybe tomorrow I'll dip into the 50s box here. The other one's all mainly 50s stuff, and we'll see what's there. And there's plenty to go around. There's lots of 78s. Okay, so I'll wind up tonight with Graham Bell's Ragtime 4, and I was thinking, is Maple Leaf Rag or Black and White Rag the pot black music? I can't remember. It might be Maple Leaf. Actually.
Maple Leaf.
Yeah, it is. Well, anyhow, this is the Black and White Rag. It's with Graham Bell's Ragtime 4, and I thought it might be a fun way to finish. So we'll cue this one up, and we'll say thank you to the listener, and we'll look forward to
exciting and listening.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much, Frank. Have a good evening.
And you.
Yeah, and we'll catch up tomorrow. So regards to all. Oh, I did one thing quickly. Did you get some things worked out with your synthesizers?
Yes, we were missing a particular kind of plug, that an adapter plug, but it's all in hand.
Okay.
And it's going to happen on Monday. Patrick's got some time Monday.
Oh, tremendous. Oh, good. Excellent. All right, we'll have to report on that one too.
Thank you for
that sounds interesting.
Speaking.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, you have to get that microphone out too. Get your little Zephyr.
Oh, the Zephyr. Look, I have to dig it up. It's somewhere.
Yeah.
Among the chaos, which is my shack. As you know.
I'm more than happy to wire it up.
It's a big crystal microphone.
Yeah. It sounds good. It'll probably be interesting. It'd be interesting to try out.
I'd have to do some impedance matching to run it into the transceiver.
Oh, yeah, that's a thought. Yes, you probably would. Yeah. Some of the transceivers you can sort of that's a good point.
You may not. It's got a high output, I think.
Yes, they're very hot. You can almost put them into a line level.
Yeah. Well, in fact, that's what I did.
Okay.
I was playing them into a little amplifier with headphones.
Yes.
As an older kid.
Ah, right. Very good.
Back in the 50s and having a lot of, 60s, having a lot of fun.
Yes. Sounds good. Good news. All right. Well, we'll catch up soon, and we'll finish now with Black and White Rag. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening, and we'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. And I'm vk3sl.